Hey, friends. Hey, girl, hey. How you doing? How you been? It's been a minute. It's been a minute. I have a good reason for being away for so long. I have so much I want to share with you. Y'all don't mind my hair. I'm going to get it rebraided again. I just wanted to take a break from the braids for a little while. So I washed it and put it in these little dookie twists. I'm going to take the twists out later on, probably tonight or tomorrow, and just wear my natural hair crinkly for a little while. But I might get my braids back in next week. I don't know. Taking a break from the braids, giving my edges a break. Y'all look, y'all know how we black women do. We like the braids, we like the wigs, we like the installs, and then our edges end up suffering. I ain't going out like that. I ain't going out like that. This post chemo hair has been growing so beautifully. Look, and y'all know the shrinkage is real. Y'all know the shrinkage is real. So I am not going to ruin my hair with protective styles that damage our edges. So taking a break for a little while. But anyway, I like my little dookie twist. How y'all like it? How y'all like my little twist? These gray hairs, child, these grays won't let me be great. These grays have decided to take over, child. And you know what? I'm all right with it. I am 51 years old and I am embracing all of what 51 brings because it's been a beautiful, beautiful journey. And I don't plan to change a thing. But y'all, what made me want to come back on and go live instead of doing a pre-recorded video is because I wanted to share with you that I have finally found my home. I'm home. It's been 4 years. It's been 4 years. My 4-year anniversary is coming up. The anniversary from when I quit my job, officially walked away from my career for good, was in May 2022. So it's almost 4 years. My anniversary is coming up this month. But when I quit my job, I packed up and left the United States. And I've been slow traveling the world ever since. I've been back home a few times, but never longer than maybe a couple of months. And even that longest period was for a very, very important reason. Most of you know what that reason is. I won't get into that in this video, but and then all of my other visits were maybe a week, 2 weeks tops. But for the most part, for the past 4 years, I have been slow traveling all around the world. And I have finally found a place that felt like home. And I've decided to plant my feet and unpack my bags. I'm home now. So in this video, I wanted to share my journey. The countries that I visited, not all the countries I visited over the past 4 years, because some of them were just vacations and some of them were just, I could never live here, but I like this country kind of thing. I want to share the countries that I visited that I considered calling home, that I thought would be home. The reasons why I could not call them home, but the country that I chose to call home, and then more specifically, the city in this country that I've decided to call home. And the funny thing about it, you could not have told me 4 years ago that I would choose the city that I'm in right now to call home. You would not have been able to tell me, Malika, that's where you're going to choose to live. I would have been like, no, absolutely not. And the crazy thing is, I resisted this city. I resisted it so much, I kept leaving and coming back. I, I kept, oh, I watched. I kept leaving, but something kept drawing me back. Then I would leave and then come back. And I'm like, what is it about this city that I like so much? I'm not supposed to like this city. But y'all know what they say when how the saying go, when you make plans, God laughs. And then the city I thought I would love, it just, I couldn't call that city home. I just couldn't. So yeah, how y'all been doing? How y'all been doing? Let me say hey to my friends. If you're new to my channel, hey girl, hey. My name is Malika. I am a stock market investor and a money coach. I built up my portfolio by investing in the stock market to fund my freedom. And when my portfolio got to a certain amount, I chucked the deuces to corporate America, and I have been free, financially free, location free, time free ever since. It's been almost 4 years since I've been traveling. Now I permanently live abroad, in that same portfolio that I built by investing in the stock market is what funds my lifestyle in my new home. I'm also a money coach. I help other women, mostly professional Black women, learn how to use their salary and turn it into freedom the same way I did. I love my new job that I've given myself. It's a lot of fun and very, very rewarding. But if you are interested in learning about investing in the stock market, you like watching content about travel around the world, you like watching content about seeing a Black woman with financial freedom that's not hustling and grinding, that's not shucking and jiving, that's not doing a whole bunch of side hustles, running a business and doing this and doing that, 5 different things and pushing ebooks and courses and all that kind of. We don't do that here. We focus on freedom and what's easy and what's simple. I'm in a phase of my life right now where peace is a priority to me, where ease is a priority to me, not just a buzzword, not just a social media hashtag. It's my life. It's what I embody. It's what I live and demonstrate by example. It's not a social media fad for me. This is my life and I share it. So if that's the type of content that you're interested in, investing in the stock market, leveraging your portfolio to create the life you desire, not hustling and grinding. If that's what you're interested in, subscribe to my channel. You might like it here. And if you would like to learn how to invest in the stock market, I do open my coaching program 2-3 times a year because I don't work hard. So for this year, I will host one more cohort. I might do it sometime this summer. That's what I'm thinking about. Don't have any firm plans yet. But if you would like to be coached on how to invest in the stock market and you would like to learn the strategies that I use to create the ease in my life, I would suggest that you go to my website and get on my email list. Get on my email list because when I do start ramping up to host another cohort for Invest with Ease, I will announce it to my email list first. But you can find that link on my website, moneycoachmalika.com. But anyway, child, enough about me. Let me talk to y'all. Let me say hello to my OG besties that are with me live. If you're watching live, say hey girl, hey in the live chat. And y'all know I love the money babies. When y'all leave me money babies, it make me feel all warm and fuzzy. I love the money babies. Um, well, let me say hello to my OG besties and see who's with me. And shout out to my channel members. I see you, channel members. What's up, Penny? I miss you, girl. I feel like I haven't seen you in a long time, even though I haven't been live in a long time. For about 6 months there, I got used to seeing you, what, about every week or so? Miss seeing your face. I hope you are well. I hope you are well. What's up, channel member Miss Eileen? Hey, girl, hey. Love to see the custom money babies. Can't see them on my screen because y'all know StreamYard be hating. But y'all can see them in a live chat. Hey, Miss Eileen. How you doing, girl? Penny said you've been gone for so long, you forgot the money babies. I thank you for circling back and sharing them with me. Y'all know how much I love the money babies. Ah, thank you. Yes, look, y'all remember. Y'all remember what I went through just a year ago. Yeah, my hair has grown out so much. It's grown out so much. And it's like a completely different texture now. It just, chill. I love it. I love it. I just let my hair do its own thing. I love it. Let's see. I'm going to say hello to all my channel members first. Uh, with the silver spark. I like that, Eileen. Thank you. Silver sparkle. That's what I'm going to call them from now on. My silver sparkles. Yes. My silver sparkles. I am embracing the silver sparkles, honey. I'm embracing the silver sparkles. I love being 51. Did y'all feel that way? Any 50 and over women in the live chat? Did y'all feel that way after you turned 50? Like, wow, I'm 51. This feels good. It's like we are always taught to dread aging or dread all of the changes that come along with aging. Now, don't get me wrong. Them heat flashes at night, I could do without that. But everything else, it's like, I feel like I'm coming into myself, my womanhood, my femininity, my confidence, I just feel like I'm growing into myself. There's just so many things that I thought I would resist and hate that I don't. And I'm like, I like who I've become. I like who I'm becoming because it's a journey. This life thing is a journey. So it never ends, but I like me. And I genuinely like the person that I'm becoming. And it feels good. It feels good. So yeah. Past 50, you just stop worrying about other people so much. Yeah. I think that's a big part. Yeah, I think that's a big part because in my 20s and 30s, I was just so focused on my daughter. In my 30s and 40s, I was so focused on, satisfying the bosses and making a good impression and getting that next promotion. And it's like now in my 50s, I can prioritize me. I have nobody to impress but me. I have nobody to satisfy but me. And I love that for me. I love that. In this new health journey that I'm on, y'all know about that. I've shared that in other videos. I'm learning, it's like I'm learning my body all over again. And I'm learning how to be a partner with my body instead of resisting what my body has been trying to tell me, what my body has been hinting at for so long. I won't get into the health and fitness stuff in this video. We're going to talk about my new home. But I'm learning to be in alignment with my body. And that's making a big difference in how I feel as well, because I realize that she wants me to feel good. So when I give her what she needs to feel good, she gives me what I need. And I'm like, huh, this actually works. So yeah. But anyway, 51 has been good to me. Let me say hello to my other besties. Miss Harlem Minded was first in the house. Hey girl, hey. You can see the effects of your discipline in your cheeks. Oh, can you see the difference? Oh, thank you. Thank you. I just started taking pictures so I can do some comparison. Right now, it seems really, I see it too, but it seems really subtle. It's like I'm waiting for this comparison. So it's like, wow, before I actually share like a side by side on social media. But thank you for noticing the difference. Yeah, they say your face is the first to go. I wonder what my neck will look like too. I had this is of course all fat too. Child. That's another thing I ain't scared of and I don't resist is the fat on my body. Child, it is what it is. I thank this body for getting me through some of the trauma that I've been through in my life. Child, as a breast cancer survivor, this body has shown me how much it can oof, overcome. And I'm so grateful. So when it comes to like imperfections and fat and all that kind of stuff, child, I'm like, that's minor. Do you know what we've been through? But anyway, um, I wonder like what my neck will look like. I know my face is going down. I just wonder if my neck will go down. I know a lot of this probably won't go away because I had spinal surgery. I don't know if y'all knew about that. I may have shared it like years ago, but it's been a long time. But I had spinal surgery, and the neurosurgeon went through the front. So a lot of this is, of course, neck fat also. But also, when the surgeon did the incision to seal me up, it was like it was pulled taut on one side where he went in, and then it was just the regular fat on the other side. So, child, it looked all imbalanced. But again, I don't care. My body has been through a lot, and I appreciate all of her lumps, all of her imperfections, and all of the things that she has overcome to make me feel the way I feel today. But anyway, I promise I'm gonna get to the topic. I just want to say hello because I miss all of you, and I'm so glad that you have joined me. Hey girl, hey Miss Gina. Hey Miss Tawanda. Hey, Miss Marsha. Let's see. Hey, Miss Nessa Hart. Hey, Miss Terry Murphy. Hey, Miss Lisa. Hey, Professor LCH. Hey, Anita, Goddess Era. Yes, girl. Yes. 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 Eileen, definitely. I'm 53, and there's a shift where you feel lighter. No more caring about how others feel about what you do, dress like, or live like. Yes, yes. That's right, Miss Eileen. That's right. You said it. You said it. I am amongst my people. I am so glad you're here. If I missed you, charge it to my head and not my heart. I appreciate you all the same. And if you are watching the replay, say, hey, girl, hey, in the comments, and I'll circle back and speak to you as well. But anyway, let's get into the topic, child. Let's get into the topic. Um, for the past 4 years, when I left the United States, I initially left on a 6-month sabbatical. I wasn't planning to quit my job when I initially left in May 2022. I left on a 6-month sabbatical, and I initially left just because I wanted to woosah. I wanted to exhale. I was planning to go back to the workforce, and I was planning to work until at least 57. That was my initial early retirement age. I was going to work until 57, but I ended up leaving 10 years earlier than that. But when I initially left, it was just to relax for a little bit. I wasn't planning to live abroad. I knew I've always been a traveler. I've been to 62, is 60, at least 60 countries. So I've always been a frequent traveler, but I didn't think I would actually leave the US. So my journey to where I am now wasn't with the intent to escape anything. It has always been with the focus on what made me feel good, what made me feel at peace, what made my nervous system say, we can relax our shoulders now, right? I didn't leave the United States because I couldn't afford to live there, because the cost of living was too much. The portfolio that I built, it was built with the intent to retire in the United States. And it was built with the intent to retire in the high cost of living city where I lived. I lived in the Washington, D.C. area. So it wasn't cost of living or anything like that. It was just, how does this feel to me? So when I took my 6-month sabbatical, and I initially left and went to Mexico just to exhale, to woosah, to relax, during that first 6 months, I felt something that I had never, ever experienced before. It was like my body was releasing something that I didn't even realize I was holding onto, that I didn't even realize that was like on my back. And you know how they say, or I'm sure you've heard people say, I didn't realize how stressed I was, because you don't recognize something as stress if you've normalized the stressor. You know what I mean? And you don't realize what not being stressed feels like until you're not stressed anymore. Does that make sense? It's like I didn't realize how much tension my body was carrying. And I realize now in hindsight that stress, that tension, that high cortisol that's constantly elevated, which is not normal, although our lived experiences and learned behaviors teaches us to normalize it, but it's not normal. And that leads to a domino effect of metabolic diseases, cancer, heart disease, and a lot of other things that develop as a result of it. And now I have evidence and, unfortunately, the experience of dealing with some of those diseases as a result of the high stress and the high cortisol that was in my body that I normalized. So that first 6 months, actually, even maybe 3 or 4 months into the 6 month sabbatical, is when I noticed it. And I was like, wow, this is nice. This is nice. And around month 5.5, if you've been a financial bestie for some time, you've probably heard me share this story when my boss called me and asked, "Hey, how you doing?" She was just checking on me to see how things were going and to see if I was planning to come back because the 6 months was almost up. And hearing her voice, just hearing her voice triggered something in me. And I did not have a combative relationship with my boss. I did not have uh, any dislike for her. We worked well together. So for her voice to be triggering, and it made the tension and the tightness in my body just all flood back, just talking to her on the phone. It was like that was my aha moment that said, you can't go back there. You can't go back. And I told her I wasn't sure when I was coming back. We talked about getting approval to extend my sabbatical another 6 months because I was still afraid of leaving the safety of this good job I had and these good benefits and that good health insurance, because the United States will make us believe United States is the only place where we can get health insurance in the whole wide world. And it's the only place that has the best health care in the whole wide world. So I'm indoctrinated and I'm believing all of the propaganda. So I'm afraid to leave this job because I'm afraid to give up my health insurance and all the other good benefits. So I'm talking to her about the idea of extending the sabbatical. And after we get off the phone and as the days go by, maybe 2 days later, I knew. My instincts, my conscience, my third eye, whatever you want to call it, the Holy Spirit said, "Girl, you ain't going back. Quit that job. We will figure out the benefits. We will figure out the health insurance." So that weekend, I wrote my resignation letter and I scheduled it to send that Monday morning. And that's how my journey started, because I was seeking safety, peace, freedom that felt like real freedom, not the fake freedom that the United States say we have. That release, that aha that says, now you can really exhale. And that's what I've wanted all along. I just wanted to normalize that new feeling, because for up until that point, for 40 plus years, I'd normalized high cortisol levels. I'd normalized survival. I'd normalized hustling and figuring it out. And that 6 months taught me or showed me what it felt like not having to do any of that. So that first country I went to, Mexico, for that 6 month sabbatical, while that served its purpose in showing me what being at peace and what having little to no stress felt like, that wasn't home for me. And that's okay. It was my first experience out of the United States, and it served its purpose. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for it. I have another video on my channel where I talked about why I left Mexico. So I won't go into those details in this video, but Mexico was my first stop. And it was the beginning of my journey. So when I visited other countries since Mexico, I was looking for that steady state. I wasn't looking for, the euphoria or the hype of living abroad or, the excitement of being able to, share on social media and create content about living abroad. That's never been my aim. My focus on this channel is always, first and foremost, financial freedom. The living abroad stuff, that's just sidebar content, right? Financial freedom and peace and wellness has always been my priority. But as I explored other countries, I was looking for that steady state. I didn't want to feel excited, because that can also mimic stress too, right? And I also didn't want to feel tension or stress or anything that even resembled the oppression that's in our home country. I just wanted that steady state, right? And thinking about what I needed in order to feel that steady state. I wrote down a list of criteria. I did not have a list like going into this. This is a list that I realized I identified as I was going through the experience. I did not have a regimented approach. I did not do this in an orderly fashion. I wish I could tell you that. But this criteria is what I realized I was looking for in hindsight. What I realized I prioritize as a result of experiencing different countries. So these are things that I identified in real time. And these are things that I realize now are the criteria that made me say yes to the country that I ended up choosing. But I'll go through the criteria real quick just to give you an idea of what I prioritized, right? But really quick. Number one, safety. And I don't just mean crime statistics. I mean, like, as a woman living alone, as a Black woman in a foreign country, how did I feel walking the streets alone? How did I feel being out at night? Did anything make me feel tense or threatened? Or did I feel seen and welcomed? Right? Safety was first. Number two, healthcare. Healthcare. I'm 51. I love being 51. But child, a 51-year-old body comes with its own set of challenges, right? And even when I was in the United States, I had challenges. So if I'm going to live abroad, I need to be able to manage those challenges while I'm abroad. So healthcare was a priority to me. And that healthcare had to be aligned with Gold Star global standards. You know what I mean? I don't mean just a country that has affordable healthcare. Affordable is great. We want it to be affordable because I don't want to spend my entire life savings managing healthcare, right? But affordable was not priority to me when I think healthcare. I wanted Gold Star global standards, quality hospitals, access to specialists that are the most well-trained, certified double certified in many cases based on my research, the doctors that I found that specialize and study and research the exact issues that I have. And for me, that priority is in oncology because I am a breast cancer survivor. So that's a priority to me, right? And also because of the fact that my body is still overcoming the effects, the impact of carrying stress in my body for so long. So the metabolic challenges as I am trying to balance the nervous system, trying to balance the stress, trying to regulate everything. Thankfully, everything is trending in the right direction now, but having access to specialists that focus on the exact issues that I have, not just an accessible hospital that's affordable. Quality specialists. Oh, in English speaking. There's a difference between I understand English and I can speak English in such a way. Not only am I fluent, but I am clear and conversational so that I can make you feel comfortable and trust me with your care. There's a difference. The same way there's a difference in me learning, for example, how to speak Spanish, right? I studied Spanish for so many years in my life. I can read Spanish. If they talk slow enough, I can understand what they're saying. But can I have an intellectual conversation at the medical level in Spanish? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So speaking English and being fluent in English and understanding English is still not the level of intellectual communication, conversational English, because I'm the type of patient, I have questions. If you are diagnosing me with something, I have questions. If you are doing investigative type testing, I have questions about the results. I need to understand what you're saying. And any doctor that just want me to trust them blindly is not the doctor for me. Okay. So healthcare with my very, very specific nuances in seeking quality healthcare was important to me. I am so grateful for the doctors that are on my team and that are taking care of me and helping me to optimize my health. The third thing I looked for was weather. I need hot weather, not scorching high five in the sun hot, but I need warm weather all year round. And that's because these 51-year-old bones, child. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. This has nothing to do with being 51 years old. I just like blaming everything on my age. But because I've had so many surgeries, once your body has been open, it does something to your bones where once you've had surgery, if it's cold, you feel it inside your bones. When the weather is about to change, you feel it inside your bone. I know good and well all of you remember grandma saying this. It's about to rain. And you be like, Grandma, how you know it's about to rain? Grandma felt that in her bones. I promise. Now I understand, Grandma child. I understand what Grandma was saying. But I need warm weather because the warmer the weather and the humidity, I need humidity too. It makes my joints feel flexible. I don't know how to explain it. But if I'm cold, I get really stiff. My shoulders start rising up to my ears because of the inflammation that will start around my surgical area where I had spinal surgery. It's like my body just goes out of whack when I get too cold. But when I'm hot, I don't really like being hot, but my body likes being hot. So we we don't get along that much in this area, but my body loves the heat and humidity, and I just kind of tolerate it, if that makes sense. I can't live nowhere that requires a coat. I can't do it. I can't do it. And because I have a choice, I ain't gonna do it. Ain't gonna do it. The other criteria, long-term visa options. Long-term visa options. I'm not a bopping around type chick going different place. I'm not a digital nomad. I'm not a stay here 1 month, then go here, then go here and go there. I'm not a border run type person. Stay here on my tourist visa for however many months they allow. Then you do a border run, then you come back. Child, I can't do that either. I can't do that either. If I am going to call a place home, I need to have options to legally live there without jumping through hoops. I no longer wanted to live in vacation mode, keeping a bag packed because I have to leave after so much period of time has passed. I did not want to live like that. If I'm going to call a place home, I need to have legal residency to say, this is my home. Unpack everything and leave when I want to, not because I have to, right? The next criteria was modern conveniences. Like, I really tried to resist this because I know people say, oh, when you leave the United States, you're used to certain things in the United States. You're not going to have that when you move abroad. You got to get rid of your American mindset. And I get it. I promise, I get it. I understand that advice. And for the most part, I agree, especially when it comes to like cultural things. But when it comes to like modern conveniences that I'm just accustomed to that makes my life easy, I'm not giving that up. I'm not a roughing it type girl. I'm I'm just not. I'm not roughing it. I'm not. I just can't do it. And that's why there's some countries I've been to that I really, really like that I couldn't live in. Because I just can't be roughing it. I did not retire to struggle. I just can't do it. So I need modern conveniences. I need infrastructure. I need the comforts that I'm accustomed to at home. In order to call another place home, I need similar comforts. There's certain things I'm willing to compromise if it's cultural related. But normal conveniences that creates ease, I'm gonna need that. Now, granted, in other countries, some of those conveniences come with a cost if they're not standard. And I'm okay with that. Because guess what? I'm gonna pay for it. I'm gonna pay for those modern conveniences. Uh, Another criteria, the most important, and I should have mentioned this first. And I guess it's related. It's related to the safety, but my nervous system. My nervous system. How does my body feel being in the environment? How does my body feel when I wake up in the morning? How does my body feel when I interact with the people? Do I feel any sense of discrimination? Even if it isn't the in your face discrimination like many of us experienced or have experienced in the United States, anything that remotely feels like discrimination, our bodies are sensitive to it and we're going to pick up on it, right? So I'm always paying attention to what my body is telling me. There are certain things I would like to leave behind in the United States, but there are certain things that are going to take years for me to unlearn in terms of scanning for patterns, in terms of recognizing certain things. Now, the country that I'm in, I may feel like it's discrimination, but as I'm learning the cultural nuances and as my nervous system gathers more data and starts programming the new patterns, then I'll start unlearning and putting down, releasing what I learned in the United States to recognize as something harmful and start recognizing it as, no, it's not harm. They don't mean any harm to you. This is what it is. So I'm still in that fragile middle phase where I'm unlearning and then relearning. But I pay attention to how well my nervous system is adjusting to the new environment based on different experiences that I have as I move throughout the city and the country and have different experiences with different people and different interactions. How well is my nervous system adjusting to this environment? Right? It's very, very important to me. And I kind of should have combined that with the safety factor. But the last two are criteria, but they were the lowest criteria for me. And you may find this to be strange because it's usually a high priority for most people. Is the language barrier. The language barrier is one. It's a criteria, but it's on the low part of the list for me. And the reason why it's on my list, but it's low on my list is because constantly having to figure out a language, having that barrier in between communication, that can cause low grade stress, right? And you're not even realizing it. It can cause a lot of frustration. But when you live in a country where English is not the first language, but most people speak some English and they're so kind, where you both pulling out your translator and you figure it out together. It helps you to overcome the conflict or the resistance that's created when there's a language barrier. So while I will always put forth an effort to learn the language in a country where I'm going to call home, some languages are just not very easy to learn. So it's very, very good to know that there are options to be able to communicate in a way that does not create stress and frustration, because the people are so kind and the people are willing to help. I think that makes a big difference when you're dealing with the language barrier. So that's why the language is not as high on my list. But the last one, the very last criteria, is cost of living. It should be obvious why that's not high on my list, but it is on my list. And it's on my list because I don't want to live somewhere that's just ridiculously priced, that's so overly priced where you're like, this doesn't even make any sense. Especially something that's like more expensive than the United States. Like, for example, Singapore. Singapore probably meets every criteria on the list, but the cost of living, you're like, good God almighty, this cheeseburger costs $20. You know what I'm saying? So while cost of living is not a high criteria on my list, because I wasn't looking for cheap, what's affordable. I wasn't looking to find the cheapest place to live to save as much money as possible. I was looking for a place where my money can buy me the best quality of life, that could give me the best value for my dollar. While there are levels to the cost of living here, you can ball out of control and you can live super duper duper cheap too. But I like that there is so much variety where you can choose the value and the things that are meaningful to you. So while cheap or affordable wasn't a priority for me, value will always be. Okay. All right. Y'all let me know in the live chat, out of all of my criteria, which one is important to you too? Which of those criteria are important to you too? Or is it all of them? Do you also like all of those criteria? Do you view all of them as equal importance to you too? Let me know. And then I'm going to share with you the handful of countries that I considered. It's not a lot. In fact, it's only 3 or 4. Let's see. Yes. Feel it. When it's cold, child, feel it deep in your bones. I ain't even gonna lie. Man, it's like, if I'm cold, I'm immobile. I'm done for the day. I can't do nothing. I can't go nowhere. It's a wrap for me. Feel it deep in your bones. You're like, what in the world? One of my requirements is not moving to a place. One of my requirements is not moving to a place where there is already a lot of expats, especially. Yes, ma'am. I feel you. I feel you. Especially the white Americans. I don't want that mentality around me. Yeah. All I can say is I agree 100%. Yeah. I agree 100%. Miss Fall Girl said, no bueno to the border runs. I can't do it. I can't do it. The way my desire for peace is set up, I don't want to retire to struggle. Man, I was just reading an article on how racism negatively impacts Black women biologically, physiologically, during pregnancy, which accounts for certain health disparities. Yeah. I follow this guy on Threads. He's a doctor, a Black doctor, a young Black doctor. And his fellowship, or his focus before he started his residency was on the impact, like the medical disparities to Black people and the impact that society has on us and how it causes a lot of the diseases that are common in our community. And I wish I could remember his name, but he's on Threads, and his posts, I think he's on TikTok too, but his posts are always so fascinating. And when he does studies and he does his little videos, I always learn so much from him, because I'm like, wow, that's why I feel that way. That's why I experience that. And it would be one thing if racism was a thing of the past and we were able to put the bookmark in a period in the past and have time to overcome some of these issues that we deal with. But just because slavery ended and Jim Crow is in the past, the racism and the oppression is constant every single day. And they're trying to turn back the hands of time and take it back to a time when we were the most oppressed. And it's like, how do we ever overcome these things in the same environment that constantly has their foot on our necks? How? I don't understand how you can do it. You cannot heal in the same environment that made you sick. That was one of the reasons I had to leave. That's one of the reasons why I had to leave. I am nowhere near overcoming 40 plus years of trauma, but I can feel the progress that I'm making already. And he said all of them are needed to relax. Yeah, all the criteria. Yeah, Harlem Minded said she values climate, feeling of safety, and value for the dollar. Okay. Lisa said she values the safety, the cost of living, are higher on the list, but I have to be able to speak the language. So English, French, or Spanish. Okay. You hit a lot of my requirements, especially for health. I need to be where the specialists are, so I have to be extra picky. Yeah, I agree with you, Eileen. There are many countries that are popular, I guess you can say, amongst expats that just weren't an option for me, because I have to prioritize health and safety. Even though I said safety first, but health and safety are like neck and neck for me. I have to prioritize health. So that removes a lot of countries from my list of consideration. That's his name, Eileen. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Joel Breville. Yes, that's his name. I couldn't remember, but I knew I would know it if I saw it. Yes. He does a lot of studies on how things in medicine impact us. Yes. Oh, I didn't realize he had a YouTube channel. Thank you for sharing that. Man, I follow him on Threads, because when I really don't watch much YouTube myself. I create on YouTube, but when I'm just hanging out and chilling on social media, I'm usually over on Threads. I like Threads a lot lately. But I'll follow him on YouTube too, because I'm sure he probably goes into way more detail when he's creating a longer YouTube video. I hadn't considered, oh, this is interesting. I hadn't considered health and safety infrastructure until the recent car accident that this boxer had in Nigeria. No emergency medical. Wow. I don't want to lose my foot by stubbing my toe, right? Wow. They don't have emergency medical trip. Wow. That's interesting. One thing I find interesting about where I am is that, first of all, there's so many doctors and hospitals and clinics, and like there's so many all over the country, all over the city that I'm in. Um, but even in the buildings where you live, on the rooftop, every building has what they call a helipad, so that if there's an emergency and the EMTs, like on the trucks, can't get through traffic to get to you, the helipad gets you from the roof and flies you to the hospital. I was like, and that's standard here. All the buildings have helipads on the roof. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Street lights aren't reliable. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. We need infrastructure. We need infrastructure. We definitely need infrastructure when it comes to health and safety. But anyway, all right. So the countries that I considered and the country that I decided to call home, and more specifically, the city that I decided to call home. Let's talk about that now. I already mentioned Mexico. Mexico was the first country that I went to when I first left the United States. It was a real contender because it was close to home, and I was new to the idea of living abroad. So being close to home was important because I wasn't sure how often I would go back home, which ironically now, the idea of going back home, it doesn't even matter to me. The food is good in Mexico. There are lots of expat communities all over Mexico, Mexico City, Merida, Puerto Vallarta, Playa del Carmen, Tulum, lots of expat communities in those major cities. It's warm, colorful, and I think Mexican people, the indigenous Mexican people, not the Americanized Mexican people, I think Mexicans are just very warm and very friendly. And I felt a lot of that when I was there. And that's a lot of the reason why I felt the differences in my body when I was there too. But I couldn't call Mexico home because I didn't get that feeling of safety. I just something just couldn't settle for me. Now, granted, I didn't try every Mexican city, right? I was in Puerto Vallarta. I was in Merida and Playa del Carmen. And I've been to other Mexico cities, but those are the three that I lived in to consider calling home. But I just didn't get that feeling of safety that I was looking for. And I know a lot of it is because of American propaganda. So a lot of it was psychological for me. But I always felt like hyper vigilant and wondering like when this would happen because we're constantly told that Mexico is unsafe. And I don't want to gloss over or minimize or discount the power of US propaganda. If that is what you have heard your entire life, even if you go to the country to see for yourself, you are not going to unravel 40, 50 plus years of mental conditioning and completely ignore it based on your own lived experience in just a couple of months. That's just not how psychology works. So I recognize that part of it may have been propaganda, but also the other part, I just can't ignore my nervous system and what my body told me. I couldn't get over that feeling of feeling like completely relaxed. Um, and I did a separate video, as I mentioned, on why I left Merida, Mexico. A big part also was it was just way too hot. Now, I know I said I like heat. But woo child, Merida was like high-fiving the sun. It was like kissing the equator. Way, way too hot. But and there were other reasons as well. I'll link the why I left Mexico video in the video description. But I tried on several cities and just couldn't find my vibe with it. There's no shade to Mexico. I will visit Mexico again in the future. We'll probably vacation in Mexico if I'm ever on that side of the world again. But it's not a place that I wanted to call home. Ironically, I do have permanent residency in Mexico because when I was there, I thought I was going to live there. And when I was looking at the visas, there was like the 6-month stay you get with your passport, your tourist visa. Then there was like 1 year temporary visa, and then there was permanent, and I can't remember the other options. But when I looked at my options and I saw that I qualified for the permanent, and although it cost a little bit more, but I was like, why do the 1 year visa that has to be renewed over and over and over again? So long term, you're actually going to spend more, and you're actually going to spend a lot of time with the visa process and that immigration. Why don't you just go ahead and apply for the permanent long-term visa, get permanent residency, do it one time and be done? So that's what I did. So Mexico will always be an option that I can call home if I want, because I do have a permanent residency visa in Mexico. But for this phase in my life right now, it just wasn't the first option for me. While I was on that side of the world, I also considered Colombia. I have been to Colombia several times. Love, love, love Medellin. Love, love, love Cartagena. Love, love, love Cali. Love, love, love. Like, there's lots of cities in Colombia that I've been to on vacation that I love. So I thought, let's see if I can live here. So out of all the places, all the cities that I've been to, in Bogota, of all the cities that I've been to, the one that I liked the most was Medellin. So I went back to Medellin and stayed for about 3 months. And it felt very similar to Mexico. I love Medellin. It has a large expat community, is very vibrant, growing fast, has a nice cool weather. It's like springtime. I think that's the city that they call eternal spring. So it's like springtime all year round. So you get that warmth, never have to worry about cold weather. But I just didn't feel safe. I didn't feel that level of safety that I wanted, that I was looking for, that my nervous system was looking for. It's not like I was looking for, I need this, I need this, I need this, and, checking a box. It was, what was my nervous system telling me? I am so in tune with my body. When my nervous system says no, or my nervous system says, not sure, it's a no. So the same reasons as Mexico, Colombia was a no for me. So after both of those countries, I went back to the US, and then continued my exploration. The third country that I considered is Malaysia. Y'all know I visited Malaysia several times on vacation, and Malaysia happened to be the country where I unfortunately was diagnosed with breast cancer. So, because I was familiar with the country, because I was familiar with the healthcare system, because I knew it would check all of the boxes, the infrastructure, the modern conveniences, everything about Malaysia, I just knew when I left the United States the last time that Malaysia was going to be a top contender because I knew it had everything that I needed that was a priority to me: the safety, the healthcare, the modern conveniences. When I say modern conveniences, it puts the United States to shame. In fact, all of Southeast Asia puts the United States to shame when it comes to modern conveniences. I take that back, not all. I'm going to tell you some exceptions in a minute. But specifically Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, every convenience that you are accustomed to in the United States, you're going to find in KL and some. And then on top of that, it's going to be a fraction of the price. Like KL has some of the most beautiful modern apartment buildings. It has the most quality healthcare facilities. I mean, the hospitals look like 5-star hotels. Like you walk in and you're like, wow. I've done videos on my medical care in Malaysia, so I won't go into detail here. I've even shared what it looks like I've shared all that. So I don't know what playlists they're under, but I promise you, they're on my channel. Search Malaysia healthcare. You'll see it on my channel. I've had surgery in Malaysia. I've had all kinds of health screenings in Malaysia. I've had CAT scans. I've had PET scans. I've had like the most advanced type screening in Malaysia. So checked all the boxes. 2 problems with Malaysia. Oh, and Malaysia speaks English. It's not their first language, but they speak English as if it's their first language because almost everyone in the major cities in Malaysia, they learn English from childhood and they speak it in the home. So it's not like they only speak English in tourist areas or in tourist cities. Malaysians speak English to each other. So English is just widely spoken. Even when you're looking at the signs, you'll see the language in Malay, and you'll also see it in English right up under it. So in terms of understanding the language, the infrastructure, getting around, the healthcare, Malaysia checked all the boxes. But the 2 things I resisted or didn't like about Malaysia. And it still bothers me to this day. One of them still bothers me to this day because I probably could have overcome the second one. And by the way, Malaysia has wonderful people. I have Malay friends. I spend so much time in Malaysia. I have Malay friends. And they're so wonderful to me, and they've been so supportive on my healthcare journey. They've been so supportive to my family, navigating their country, navigating their government systems and bureaucracy. They're just amazing. I thought I would be able to call Malaysia home. 2 reasons why I did not choose Malaysia. Number 1, their long-term visa program. They do have long-term visa options. But because Malaysia is so overdeveloped, they have a lot of real estate that they cannot sell. So you will see huge buildings with beautiful condos, modern, everything that you could possibly want and need. And half the building will be empty. So, because of that, because of the developers have overdeveloped, the government, and I understand why they did it, but it just didn't work for me. So the developers and the government, they partnered together and they tied real estate with the visa options. So if you want to live long term in Malaysia, their Malaysia My Second Home visa, you have to buy property in order to maintain your visa. And when I am thinking about living in a country for the first time, even if I plan to stay long term, in my first year or first 2 years, I have no interest in owning property because I don't even understand how your government works yet. I don't know enough about your real estate industry to want to own property. Even though this condo or this house is beautiful, I don't know what type of hoops I have to jump through to sell it when I'm ready to sell. I don't know anything. I'm wet behind the ears. So I am not going to commit to something like owning property or buying something and having to own it for 10, 20, 30 years if I don't even know what it's like to live in your country yet. Yes, I've visited multiple times. Yes, I love it, but I haven't lived here yet. And living is very different from visiting. So even though I would eventually buy property in whatever country that I'm calling home, it won't be the first year and it probably won't be the second year either. So the fact that they tie their visa program to property because they need foreigners to buy these properties that have been overdeveloped, that was a no for me. That was a no for me. And in certain regions of the country, they also have a minimum value on how much the property has to be. So in Kuala Lumpur, where I would have wanted to live, the property had to be valued. I want to say it had to be a minimum of 1 million rupiah. Let me see. Had to be a minimum of one, two, three. Had to be a minimum of 1 million rupiah for the visa that I was considering. And that's, I mean, it's not a lot. It's like 255,000 USD. But I don't want to commit that much to a property if I don't really know I want to stay beyond a year. I don't know. Right. So that made it a difficult decision. I did speak with an attorney that told me like a little workaround they have. It was everything has a workaround. I'm learning. So there is a region in Malaysia. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but there's a region in Malaysia. So every state in Malaysia can create their own rules, right? So there's a state in Malaysia called Sabak. Starts with the S, I think. There's a state in Malaysia where you can get the long-term visa, the My Second Home visa, and it does not require buying real estate. But of course, that region is a place where most foreigners don't want to live in. So they have modified their visa requirements just to attract foreigners. Hey, you can come over here and get the long-term visa. You don't have to buy real estate over here. But I don't want to live over there. So the gray area workaround that I was told that you could go over there, rent an apartment, get approved for the visa. I think people stay for like maybe a month or so, a couple of months, and then move to Kuala Lumpur. I don't know if that's what people are doing. Just working in the gray area when you're a foreigner, a new foreigner to a country, and you're not following all the rules, it just it just made me a little uncomfortable. So I was like, nah, I'm good on that. I'm good on that. Now, if they ever change their visa requirements, which they change often. In fact, this new requirement on having to own property, this is relatively new. They just started this like maybe 5 years ago. Prior to just a couple of years ago, less than 5 years ago, but prior to a couple of years ago, the my second home visa did not require owning property. So I wish I had visited KL back then because I would probably have this my second home visa if it did not require property. So if they ever change it again and they remove that property requirement, I might reconsider Malaysia. But the second reason why Malaysia was a no for me, and it's not something that I think I could get over as easily, is there was a lot of times when my nervous system picked up on racism. And I say my nervous system because it wasn't in your face racism, but the overt, what is it? Overt is in your face and covert is subtle, or is it flipped? I don't know. It wasn't the in your face kind that we experience in the United States, but it happened often enough where my nervous system picked up on it. And I finally noticed it and I said, So I talked to some of my Malay friends about it because I'm like, this ain't all in my head. Something's going on here. And they explained it to me. They didn't try to justify it or, try to gaslight me. They explained it to me. Malaysia has a very interesting relationship with Africans. Africans, specifically, I think from Nigeria and Ghana. There have been some things that happened in the past that involved some illegal activities, some problems with real estate and overstaying the visas and not honoring commitments with rental leases. It was so much. It wasn't like random isolated incidents. It was so much and so often where apparently their government had to get involved. And it's my understanding that because of that conflict that went on for so long until the government got involved and cracked down on it, it created like a adversarial relationship with the brown immigrants that come. Apparently, there's a lot of brown immigrants that come from Africa to do different types of work. So because of the scammy type stuff that was going on, and of course, every society, even if there aren't races, there are still, what's the word I'm looking for? It's still like the economic differences, how people are treated differently when they're considered like a lower class, like an immigrant that comes over to do like lower level work. So I think the combination of the historical conflicts and then also the biases that come along with the economic disparities, there are certain people, not all Malay, there are certain people in Malaysia that I've found mistreat brown people. What I experienced, I was never mistreated. What I experience is usually when it's an initial interaction with someone. Because they see me, they see my brown skin, their bias and their discrimination is triggered. And I would notice they either wouldn't give me the exceptional service that I was accustomed to, or they wouldn't greet me as openly, or let's say it was me and several other non-brown people being served, I would notice that either I was ignored or I was served last, even though I was probably there before one of them. And here's the interesting thing, because I'm American and we loud, and when my nervous system was triggered, I speak up. Yes, ma'am. That American in me, we very vocal. Every time I would speak, whether I was speaking kindly, just asking a question, or whether I was speaking because I was annoyed. But as soon as I would speak and they would hear that I was American instead of whatever they assumed I was, the treatment would instantly change. And then it would be like, oh, I'm so sorry. How can I help you? Or, oh, we didn't mean it, and try to explain it away. That happened so much. I was like, there's something to this. And I had to talk to my friend about it, my Malay friend about it. And that's when she gave me the scoop. And although I was treated better once they realized I was American, it didn't make me feel any better. Because if you were going to treat me that way because you thought I was Nigerian, or because you thought I was Ghanaian, or whatever you thought I was, that's still a problem, because all I'm doing is existing. You should not be mistreating me because you're assuming something about me based on the way I look, and then suddenly treat me better because you hear my American accent. And that's still a bias too, because when you hear my American accent, you're assuming that somehow I'm better than my African sisters and brothers. You're assuming that I have money. That part. And you're assuming that I'm in a upper economic class, so somehow I deserve the better treatment. I still have a problem with that, even if I'm on the beneficial end of it. That still made me feel very, very uncomfortable, especially because it happened often. Now, I'm grateful that I never experienced that in the healthcare system. I never, ever once had to question if I was being discriminated against when I'm receiving healthcare. And I never experienced that in the heavily touristy areas, because they're catering to tourists. Where I experienced it was more so in the residential areas, away from the tourist pockets where people live. So that experience would have been part of my everyday life. And as I said, although it was corrected almost immediately when they heard me speak, that's not a privilege that I want. I want the privilege of being treated fairly no matter what. So that really bothered me about the thought of living in KL specifically, and the thought of having to experience that often. So I would never get enough, my nervous system would never gather enough data to say, you can relax now. I would always be triggered first. And then when they hear me speak, then relaxed. So because I would constantly be triggered, I would never really be in a relaxed state. And it just really bothered me because I wanted to love Malaysia so much. And here's the thing. This is another thing that I noticed because my pattern recognition is really good. And I shared this with my friend just to make sure I wasn't tripping. And she validated what I noticed. So Malaysia is basically a melting pot. But the population in Malaysia is majority comprised of indigenous Malay, Chinese Malay, and Indian Malay. Do you know who I experienced every single time? Who I experienced that discrimination from? Can you guess? It was always the same. I hate to say it because I don't want to inadvertently create my own bias, but this was my experience. And my experience was consistently the same and always with the same type of person. And when I shared it with my friend, she was not surprised. And not only was she not surprised, my friend, my Malaysian friend, is also of the same nationality. And she said, yes, my people do that. She said, I hate it, but your experience does not surprise me at all. Yep. I see you in the chat. Yep. It was a Chinese Malay. It was always, not almost always, it was always the Chinese Malay. Malaysian people are absolutely very, very kind people, very welcoming, very helpful. They are not the smiley people like you may have seen in other parts of Southeast Asia. But if you need help, they will help you. They are not walking around, wanting to be your friend. They're very, very conservative people. Malaysia is a Muslim country. They're very conservative people, but they're also very kind people too. But my experience every single time was with the Chinese Malay. Every single time. And my Chinese Malay friend validated my experience. She said, yep, you're not imagining things. And she explained the history and explained why, but she didn't try to justify it or try to minimize it or gaslight me. She just explained the facts, the history, and what led to, apparently, the cultural conflicts. But there are a lot of Africans that live in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I wonder why they choose to live there if they experience that type of treatment often. But if it's economic advancements for them, it makes sense to me. But That was one of the reasons why I could not call Malaysia home, even though I wanted to. I could not. The other country I considered was Indonesia. Y'all know how much I love Bali, Indonesia. The people are amazing. I'm not going to go into detail about Bali because I have a whole dedicated video on my reasons for leaving Bali. So I will wrap this up and keep this one short, but some of the main reasons that I shared in the other video, if you want more detail, you can watch that video, was the lack of infrastructure. Bali just does not have the infrastructure that I need. Flooding, the trash everywhere, the traffic, it's just a lot. It's just a lot. I feel like living in Bali, you got to learn how to rough it. Either learn how to rough it or you got to learn how to coexist with nature and all the things that come with nature. I'm not about that life. I love Bali. I will visit Bali often. Bali will most certainly be a vacation spot for me, a frequent vacation spot for me. Maybe when family and friends come visit me on this side of the world, we explore my city and we might go to Bali. I love Bali. I love everything about vacationing in Bali. But living in Bali, I tried it for 7 months. And that was all I needed. And that was all I needed. That was all I needed. Bali is amazing. If you have not been to Bali, please visit Bali. You will not regret it. There are other islands in Indonesia that is worth exploring, and I will explore them for vacation. I have no interest in living in any of them. So I'm sure you can probably guess by now the country that I chose to live in. Before I say it, can anyone guess based on what I've shared so far? But even in the country where I chose to live in, I considered 4 or 5 different cities in this country. 4 or 5 different regions, I should say, in this country. And I resisted the region that I end up choosing, which is still wild to me. Still wild to me. But anyone want to guess where they think I chose? Let me check the comments. Yep. Holly, you guessed exactly right. Miss Gail, hey, Miss Gail, says you understand you experience that attitude in Portugal, not a lot, but you notice it. Your nervous system is going to notice anything that remotely resembles racism or discrimination. Your nervous system will notice before you do. And it took several times for me to be like, wait a minute. Because I didn't want to believe I was experiencing that. I'm like, Malika, you just too sensitive because you still off the United States boat. You too sensitive, girl. Calm down. I'm thinking I'm making it up in my head. Girl, after a while, I was like, wait a minute. And then because it was such a stark difference after they would hear me speak and the whole treatment would change, that made it stand out even more. I was like, this is weird. And I didn't understand what that was about until I talked to my friend. But as soon as I would speak up, it's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm so. What is that about? My friend spilled all the tea, child. She spilled all the tea. She ain't hold nothing back. I appreciate her so much. She was like, yeah, you're not tripping. You're not tripping. Love the island, but that incident and another made me wonder about tourism. Not a one-to-one, but an experience of being treated differently once you found to be American. Yeah, that's the thing. So it's the discrimination because you're brown, but once they realize you're an American, then it's like, oh, you get the red carpet treatment. There's privilege to that blue passport we have, y'all. There's privilege. But I don't like when that privilege makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't want that. I'm not the type of person where discrimination is acceptable to me because it doesn't hurt me. You know what I mean? If it's wrong, it's wrong. I mean, the same thing applies like in the United States. There's certain things that don't affect me because I'm in a different economic class. But I'm still going to go to bat for the people that it affect because if it's wrong, it's wrong. It, to me, that's just being a good human being. You know, whether I benefit from the bias or not, it's just wrong. And it actually made me feel even worse. Mm-mm. You're right. Just because you treat me better, once you know I'm an American, that don't make me feel better. Maybe access to resources in universities. They're strong in STEM, maybe more accessible than the West to some. Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia. I mean, why you say Indonesia? I just said I didn't want to live in Indonesia, but most of you already said it. Yes. So the last country that I scouted, tested out, visited multiple times. I have been coming here since my first birthday trip that was in 2016, 2015, 2016. Been here multiple times. But Thailand. Thailand to me is in a category by itself. Um First of all, Thailand is the only country in Southeast Asia, maybe all of Asia, but the only country in Southeast Asia for sure that was never colonized. And I think that might play a big part into why the people are the way they are and why they're so welcoming and so kind and so deeply rooted in their beliefs and their way of life because they were never colonized and influenced by the West. So my last visit back to Thailand, of course, was in December when I came for my birthday. But every time I visited Thailand, I was like, oh, that place is cool. I like it so much. I'll go there to celebrate my birthday. Or I'll go there for this special occasion. But I never really thought Thailand would be home for me. But out of all the cities I've been to in Thailand, if I had to consider it home, the one that I thought would be where I would plant my feet was Chiang Mai. When I first visited Thailand in 2015, I think it was, Chiang Mai was my first love. I fell in love with Chiang Mai because I felt like it was like the best of both worlds, where you had the modern, the infrastructure, the kindness of the people, but also the slow pace. You had the mountains, you have the old city, where it's still like the cultural center of Thai life. You know, it's like Chiang Mai checked all the boxes, all the boxes. And if I'm being honest, I felt the most at home in Chiang Mai. But I couldn't call it home because Chiang Mai has this thing called burning season. For months, February, sometimes starting around end of February, beginning of March. But February, March, April, and sometimes it extends into May. For months, the air quality is so poor. If you have any type of medical issue, any type of respiratory issue, it will be difficult to stay there through burning season. People that call Chiang Mai home that do stay and get through burning season, there are a lot of different things that they do to manage through it. Like they have these air purifiers in every room of their house. They wear, mask, the really, really good mask when they go out, or sometimes they just don't go out very much during burning season. But the idea of months every year where I would be physically uncomfortable or I would have to leave my home because of the season it was, that just made it unlivable for me. So although I love Chiang Mai and I would visit often because that's how much I love it, I could not live there because of the burning season. The second area that I considered that I thought would be my place was a little quiet beach town called Hua Hin. Hua Hin, Thailand is a beach town that is very popular for Thai people. That's where a lot of middle class and wealthy Thai people go to vacation. So it has become somewhat of a expat, retiree age expat attraction. So a lot of Westerners are gravitating to Hua Hin as their retirement homes. So it's a little, cute little town. The beach is beautiful. It's very slow paced, very calm. Like when you think of a small, quiet, quaint retirement community, that's Hua Hin. There is a Black expat community that's small but growing in Hua Hin. What I found after staying there for about 2 months is it's mainly older people that are retiring there. Although I'm retired, I'm not traditional. My lifestyle is not traditional retirement like. And then the young people that are there, it's a lot of Black Americans that are there. The young people that are there, they're either there with their families, they have small kids, so they want that slow quality of life, with good schools, good international schools for their kids, or they homeschool. But after staying there for about 2 months, I'd done all there was to do in just 2 months. In the last month, I was actually bored. I was like, there's only so much you can walk on the beach. There's only so much you can go to the same couple of cafes. And it's like 3 hours from the main city. So I was like, every time I would travel, my flight would be out of a major city. So I would have to travel 3 hours round trip just to get to and from the airport. And as a frequent traveler, I was like, how sustainable is this girl? You like this beach life. Even if you can get over the boredom, you still a traveler at the end of the day. But the main deal breaker for me was two things. Hua Hin, outside of the little part that's considered the city center that's walkable, outside of that, Hua Hin is very spread out. So most people that live in Hua Hin, that live in the beautiful, what they call pool villas, that live in the really, really nice condos with beach views, they have a car. You have to have a car in Hua Hin to get around. They do have Grab there, but I found that after a certain time of day, getting a Grab was nearly impossible. I hung out with a friend one day that lived in one of those beautiful condos that was far out. Uh, 3 Grabs canceled on me while I was going. That should have been my hint that something wasn't right. But when I left her house, it was dark. So it was probably like 9 o'clock. It took me almost an hour to get a Grab home because there were no cars accepting rides. And the one that finally did accept the ride, I had to change my selection to the most expensive selection. So when you call a Grab, you know how in the US you can call a regular car, you can call a medium car or a black car, or as you go down the list, they get more expensive. That's how it was. I had to check all the boxes, and the one that finally accepted the ride accepted the most expensive one. So it was like me by myself calling a black car just to go from my friend house back to the Airbnb I was staying in. And what I had to pay for that 20-minute ride felt like I was in the United States. So I was like, nah, this not for me. I was bored, too spread out. I'd have to have a car. Grab was not as reliable. So although I like Hua Hin, and I'll probably visit Hua Hin often when I want a beach experience, but it wasn't for me living there to call home. The other 2 areas I considered, because they were beach towns, I thought I wanted a beach town. Like I was thinking, oh, I'm retired. I want to live the retired life, so I need to live near the beach. I don't know when and where I got that idea from, but I also consider Phuket, and I also consider Pattaya. Pattaya is very, very, very popular with the Western expats, especially the Black American expats. There's a huge Black expat community in Pattaya. Visited both. They were just not for me. Both of them are very touristy. Both of them are very party. They have like party-like energy to me. I did like the beach area. I did like the accessibility. I did like the activities and all the things that are available to do. So it wasn't boring like Hua Hin, but it just wasn't my energy for my lifestyle. But the last city, I'm laughing only because I resisted this city so much. I was like, I'm leaving the United States. I'm leaving this big city life. I lived in the Washington, D.C. area for over 20 years. I'm tired of the city. I like all the reasons for resisting it. It is still crazy to me that this is what I chose, and I'll explain why. So, I'm sure you can guess by now, I chose Bangkok. I chose to call Bangkok, Thailand, home. And here is what I resisted. And I had a long conversation with God, and I said, look, I don't know why you keep pulling me back to this city. Because every time I would go to one of the other cities I mentioned, I started in Bangkok. I was like, nope, I can't live here. I left, went to Chiang Mai. After Chiang Mai, I came back to Bangkok. Left, went to Hua Hin. After Hua Hin, I came back to Bangkok. Left, went to Phuket. After Phuket, I came back to Bangkok. Left, went back to Kuala Lumpur because I had a doctor's appointment, came back to Bangkok. Then I went to Pattaya, came back to Bangkok. I'm like, why do I keep coming back here? Why do I keep coming back here? And I told God, the only way I can live here is if I'm able to find a home that is near public transportation so I can still get around the city, but I don't want to be in the city. I don't want to be in the city center where all the action is going on, where all the tourist activities are going on, where all the loudness, all the traffic, all the stuff that makes Bangkok crazy. But I want to be close to it. I don't want to be in it, but I want to be close to it. And then I would need my building to be ultra modern. I would need this laundry list of amenities. And then the criteria that I had for the inside was absolutely ridiculous. But I said, you know what? I'm not holding back. If this is where I'm supposed to be, these are all the things I want. I want large windows, bright natural light. Because I'm afraid of, I know there was a earthquake last year or year before last. I want to live in a high-rise building, but I don't want to be at the top. But I also don't want to be so low where I'm too close to hearing all the noise from the traffic. I want to be like in the middle. And then I want my unit to face away from the traffic. I want my unit to face away from the main street because I want to feel like I'm in the suburbs. Although all I got to do is walk down the street and be right in the city. My criteria was ridiculous. I'm gonna do a separate video about the experience of finding my condo. But when I say my criteria list included everything, and when I prayed about it, I said, Lord, if this is where you want me to be, I can't compromise nothing. I needed to feel like I'm in the suburbs. I needed to be quiet. I want my view to look like this. I want to see the city skyline. I want to see green space. I want to be near a beautiful park because you know I like to take my faith walks. I want to be near the MRT or the BTS. I want all of these things, and I'll share that when I share the video about looking for a place. I had a laundry list. And when I first started looking, it almost looked like it wasn't going to happen. And I was like, well, I didn't want to be here anyway. I guess I just keep exploring Thailand. I didn't want to be here anyway. And then my realtor was like, show me your list again. I sent him my list again, and by then I had added some things to the list because some things I saw before I ain't like. So I added some things to the list that was already ridiculous. She said, there's a brand new building. And there are several units I want you to see that are also brand new. No one has even lived in them. The owners just took possession. Are you available tomorrow? I said, sure. Skeptical, thinking I'm going to see something that made me be like, nope, this ain't it. Nope. All right, Lord, I told you. I'm not supposed to be in Bangkok. Y'all can see the natural light. For safety reasons, I will never share exactly where I live. For safety reasons, I'm also not the type of person that do condo tours and show you around the building and show you a house and all that kind of stuff. So you'll never see that. If you're a client, you'll probably see it in one of the sessions. But that ridiculous list that I had, everything on the list was met. I told my realtor, I said, you set me up. You set me up because you knew I would not say no to this. And she just said, I'm just good at my job. Had to give it to her. Had to give it to her. But thinking about my criteria, the safety, Thai people, Thailand is just known as a city of smiles. That is not an exaggeration. I'll do a separate video to go into more detail about my experience interacting with the Thai people. But they are some of the most genuine, most kind people I have ever met in my life, similar to the Balinese people. That's not a small thing to me. I've walked around Bangkok. I'm always dilly dallying. I've walked around Bangkok in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, and at night. I have been in cafes with my laptop, my purse, and my cell phone. And because something outside caught my eye or I wanted to go take a quick selfie, I've gotten up, walked away from all of my things, sitting in the cafe, went outside, took pictures, took selfies, came back in, everything right where I left it. The healthcare has some of the best hospitals in the world. I've had 2 medical appointments since I've been here. One was just like a consult, like an exploratory consult, because when it comes to my healthcare, I do have a list. I do have a list of things that I'm checking off the box to make sure it fits. And then the hospital that I chose to establish care, I've had a real appointment there so far because I wanted to interact with the doctor to test that English communication. I have not established all of my doctors yet, but so far what I have experienced looks like a green light for me. But until I am secure and comfortable with all the specialties, the specialists in the specialties that I need, I will continue seeing my doctors in KL. It's only less than a 2-hour flight. So I'm not in a rush to establish anything here, but I am doing on the ground assessments. What I've seen so far has been hella impressive. Bangkok hospitals look like, I said KL hospitals look like 5-star hotels. Bangkok hospitals look like 7-star hotels. Even the clinics, and these of course are the private ones. I haven't been to any public hospitals or public clinics, and I probably never will, just being real. Nothing against them, I just probably never will. Also here, the public ones are way more affordable too. But again, I don't live based on what's affordable. I look for value first, not just because it's cheap. But what I've experienced so far in the healthcare system, I'm very pleased. But until I'm 100% comfortable with everyone, I'm not switching my care from KL just yet. But I like knowing that I have feasible options where I can. The weather, child, right now is hot. Bangkok is hot right now. It is hot season. March, April, and May are the hottest months of the year in Bangkok. So it's hot. Ain't no way around that. I ain't even gonna try to justify that or explain it. Not only is it hot, it's hella humid. If I go out in the morning. I do my walks in the morning. I'm usually up and out of the house by 6:30 in the morning. Or I go out at night, like after the sun go down. In the middle of the day, it's a wrap. I'm very grateful for the Grab delivery drivers. I'm very grateful for the Grab delivery drivers. But after May, then rainy season starts. I'm so grateful to have the condo that I have with the view that I have, the furniture, the cozy furniture that I have, because when it rains, it's so beautiful. I have a balcony in my bedroom. So I have tea on my balcony. And when it rains, I love it. So I'm actually looking forward to rainy season. I'm sure that will come with its own set of challenges with all bugs and all kinds of bugs and critters. Um, but because it's the start of rainy season, the owner of my condo, which, and I'll explain this when I talk about finding a home. I was very, very particular about the type of owner. I did not want a Chinese owner. Talk about that in more detail. The owner of my condo is a Thai person, and his personality, his demeanor, and everything is so Thai, and I love it. When I told him I was afraid of critters and I didn't want to deal with all the bugs and stuff, he immediately went into action. He put one of those strips on the bottom of the door. He sent in pest control. In fact, I'm surprised they hadn't come yet. Pest control is supposed to come today between 10 and 12, he told me. So we're doing proactive treatment because he wanted to make sure that I'm comfortable. But I'm looking forward to the rainy season. And after rainy season is over, then it's the perfect weather season. And it's peak tourist season where all travelers usually come to Thailand. So I'm looking forward to all the seasons in Thailand. The visa, long-term visa, I will do a separate video on the visa, but I do have a 10-year visa. I have the long-term visa that's for wealthy pensioners. In a separate video, I'll go over all the detail and criteria and how I was able to get that visa. But it's a visa for wealthy global citizens, wealthy pensioners. Well, there's like different criteria, like people that have like in demand, very rare skills. But this visa, it has all kinds of benefits. It has tax benefits. It has like luxury type benefits, like fast tracking through the airport. Like when I leave and come back to the country, I don't have to stand in like regular lines. Like a lot of the other visas where you may hear people saying they got to check in with immigration. This visa, there's no check-in required. Like there's a lot of perks to this visa. So I went like ultra long term. And I'm all about whatever visa I meet the criteria for that has the most benefits. That's the one I want. Whether I choose to stay here for 10 years or not, that's neither here nor there. That's a choice I get to make. But I can make that choice versus having just a 1-year visa where I would have to renew something over and over. So the same concept I followed when I got the visa in Mexico. Modern conveniences. Woo! I will get into that when I talk about the finding my condo video. The language barrier. Thailand does have a language barrier, an extreme language barrier. That's gonna have to be a separate video too, because I am going to take Thai classes. Once I get really, really settled and my brain can focus on learning something new, I'm going to take Thai classes, but I do not expect to ever be conversational in Thai. I just want to learn enough just to be respectful. I just want to be able to respect the customs, respect the people, to be polite, to give the same courtesy back that they give to me. I just love the Thai people so much. They make me feel like royalty. And it's not special treatment. It's their culture and their customs and just who they are. I was going to say, I just can't explain it. I will explain it, but in a separate video. So the next criteria, the nervous system, doesn't need to be explained. My nervous system in Thailand, I am unlearning so many bad habits and so many things that I developed as a result of being in survival mode. I am unlearning those things here in Thailand. And even though they surface sometime, because I'm still an American through and through, I've been an American for over 50 years. So there are some things about me, the American is just going to come out no matter how much I know it's not appropriate or how much I know it's not needed. There is no way in any expat or immigrant or anyone that has moved to another country that tells you you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that and stop doing this and stop doing that, and they make it sound like it's just a switch you can flip and you just turn it off, they lying. It's a process, a daily process to unlearn the unhealthy American habits that we have. But even when they surface, the way the Thai people are, they disarm my defensiveness effortlessly. And my nervous system is learning the same way I develop the learned behaviors. My brain needs to recognize consistent patterns to relearn that I don't need these things over here. So every time I have an interaction with a Thai person and they disarm my defensiveness, that helps me to relearn that I don't need this, and that this country over here that taught me those things are harmful to me. But this country I'm in right now, I'm safe. And I don't mean safety from physical harm or danger or things being stolen. I mean safe. My nervous system is safe. I don't always recognize it because my brain defaults to what I know in America. I'm learning that I'm safe. From the doorman that opens the door, no matter how raggedy I look when I come back from my walk, sweat dripping down my face. From my landlord when I'm talking to him casually about simple things that I feel like I should do myself because I'm used to doing it myself because I had to do it myself when I rented in the United States. And he's like, no, I'll take care of that for you. And I'm just like, oh, okay. From the ladies that work in the hair salon, the people that work in the cafes that I frequent, the street vendors where I like to buy my fruit, every interaction is teaching me that I don't need this heavy armor that I have been traveling the world with because I don't need it. And finally, the cost of living. Do I need to talk about that? I don't need to talk about that. I will go into more detail, of course, when I talk about, finding my condo. I will say Thailand has every level of cost of living that you could think of. If you want to live in Thailand on a $1,500 a month budget, you can find a place to live in Thailand. Maybe not Bangkok, but you can find a place to live in Thailand on that budget. If you come here and you're super duper wealthy and you want the top of the line everything and live in the penthouse and all that, you can find that too, right? I know a lot of what you see on YouTube, because it's trendy and it gets views and it goes viral, is the $300 a month condo, the $500 a month condo with all of these modern amenities, and you ooh and ah all over the pictures in the video. You're like, wow, that's so cheap. Yeah, you can find that too. But if you are middle class in the United States, you are a fairly high earner, and you have your investment portfolio, your retirement benefits, you're not a little teeny bopper or 20, 30-year-old digital nomad. You're not trying to, count every dollar. You're not going to want those $500 a month condos. You could find your same standard of living in the United States here in Thailand, and it still be less than what you were spending just on your mortgage alone in the US. And that's without even trying. That's without even trying to save money or cut costs or budget. I'll do a separate video on my cost of living. So many videos I want to share. And this one is already over 2 hours long, so I'm gonna wrap it up here. Um, but what I spend in a month, and I don't have a full month of expenses yet because I just moved into my condo a couple of weeks ago. I actually spend less in Thailand than I spent when I was in Bali. And that's without trying, that's without compromising anything. I do not live in one of them little matchboxes like you see on the YouTube videos. Even though I live alone, I knew those spaces just wasn't for me. Nothing against it. There's a cost of living range for every budget here in Thailand. So whatever yours is, you can find that here too. But the bottom line is I had to stay true to myself. Even though I resisted Bangkok, I still did not compromise anything I wanted. I was willing to keep traveling and keep exploring until I found the place. Now, is Bangkok my permanent place? Absolutely not. I consider myself a global citizen. So there is no place that I'm going to say is permanent. I'm going to stay here forever. But I will say, I have looked into what like retirement homes look like. I have looked into what like home health care look like. So if I do decide to age here in Thailand, I wanted to know what those options were, or what the estimated costs would be. And I have found that home health care for what they call like geriatric patients is, of course, way more affordable than it is in the United States. So I have looked into like true retirement type living here just to see if what I would need and want was available, because I don't want to think about, okay, I want to live here for now while I'm young and still vibrant, but when I'm old, I have to go back to the United States. That's always an option if I choose to, but I also want to see what my options are if I don't want to, right? So that has been my experience so far. I still don't know why Bangkok kept rising to the top. I still don't know why I kept coming back here. I wanted to be in KL, Malaysia, but then something in the back of my mind just kept saying, I don't know about this. I have not felt any discrimination of any kind here in Bangkok yet. If I do, I will certainly share it. Um, but there came a moment where everything just fell into place without a lot of friction. I won't say effortlessly, but without a lot of friction, where it just felt easy. So I had to tell myself, because I sometimes tend to overthink and overanalyze things, I had to tell myself what I used to tell myself all the time when I was working. There's no decision you can make that you can't change. Always reserve the right to change your mind. The door swings in both directions. So stop evaluating, stop analyzing, and just go with the flow of what you feel based on what you know right now. And when I told myself that, it was easy to say, Bangkok is home. And then I unpacked. After 4 years of living out of a suitcase, I finally decided to unpack. And I'm learning how to live life that's truly peaceful and that's truly in alignment with what my body is feeling, not what my mind says I want, but with what my body is feeling. Don't know how long I'll be here. Have a 10-year visa. But for now, it's home. And of this entire experience, if there was one thing I could share with you, I would say if you are planning to move abroad, if you're considering moving abroad, or if you're currently living abroad, listen to your body. Don't discount what you feel. Don't gaslight yourself. If something inside of you is saying, this is not it, or the opposite, if something inside of you is saying, this place is it, go with it. There's no decision that you can make that can't be undone. It doesn't have to be permanent. Just where you are in the phase of life that you're in right now, go with it. And just let things naturally unfold for you. But your body will help you make that choice so you can stop overthinking. So just go with it. Hope this was helpful, sharing my experience. Let me see what you're saying in the live chat. If you have any questions for me, feel free to share them. I will try to answer what I know so far. And I will continue sharing in future videos. If you're watching this and you enjoyed it and you're not subscribed, subscribe to my channel because I do plan to share my entire process as I have already experienced and as I continue to experience in Thailand. So if you're interested in living in Southeast Asia, I have experience in multiple countries. And if you're interested in living in Thailand, specifically Bangkok, I will continue to share my experience as I go. For the next couple of videos, I will share, this is an order I'm going to share them in. Getting my visa. Then I will share finding a realtor to look for a home. Then I will share the experience of finding a home. Ooh, yeah, that almost gave up. Then I will share the rental process here in Bangkok. And also, when I notice a lot of people on these YouTube videos don't talk about is the contracts, the contract that you sign. I don't know if this is a privilege that I have because it's part of what I did for a living, but I don't believe in signing my name to anything. I don't care if it's on letterhead. I don't care if it's standard language. I don't care if this is what's always been done. Everything is negotiable. Okay? We're going to talk about some of the terms and conditions that you need to make sure you have in your contract when you rent in a foreign country. Right? Not saying we're bringing America to their country, but there are certain terms and conditions I needed in my contract to protect me. If a contract agreement is too far leaning to protect the owner and just leave me ass out, that ain't gonna work for me. And if you insist on leaving your contract that way, that's okay. That's your prerogative. That's your property. But I can't rent here because it ain't good enough for me. Any agreement goes both ways. Both people have something to benefit and something to lose. Never give up your leverage by signing something that's not to your advantage. I'll save the rest of that for the lease video. And then after I share the lease video, I will share the moving in process where I shop and all that kind of stuff. And then I'll also share the details of my cost of living. So if you're not subscribed to my channel, make sure you subscribe if you're interested in life in Bangkok, Thailand. All right, let me see if you had any comments or questions. Let me scroll up. Scroll up. Thailand just being different. Never knew that. Do they have burning season in Thailand? Yes, they do have burning season in northern Thailand. Burning season starts, it varies. It's not exact. It can start late February and continue through May-ish. And there are some negatives to being here in Bangkok too. So I don't want to paint the picture that Bangkok is some perfect city without its challenges. But we'll get into that as I talk more about, as I do more residential type videos. Hey, Miss Sierra, you can watch the replay. I will keep this replay on the channel. I know some of my replays I save for channel members only, but this one will stay on the channel. Oh my God, it's a real problem in some countries. My uncle was from Barbados and he would burn trash in the backyard. Yeah. Air quality is an issue. Phuket. Yeah, I consider Phuket. The suburbs of Bangkok. Not quite in the suburbs. I'm in the city. I'm in the city, but where I live, because it's kind of like on the edge, it feels like the suburbs because it's super duper quiet. Like I hear no, and also the direction that my condo is facing, I hear no traffic, no outside noise. Even when I'm on my balcony, I hear no traffic or outside noise. And because of where I'm facing, the northeast, so the sun rises where I'm facing, so it doesn't get super duper hot. So I see the sunrise from the balcony in my bedroom, even from my bed. I don't have to get out of bed as long as I have the curtains open. God is good. Yes. Ooh, yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. God is good. And he hears and answers our prayers all the time. All the time. Yes. How long is rainy season? Rainy season, I want to say about 2 months. It might be 2 or 3 months. Don't quote me on that. I know it starts in May, so it's starting now. Rainy season, Bangkok. Well, it actually says it starts in late May. So it's just starting to begin. And they say September is the wettest month. And the thing about it is, on what I experienced, having visited several times over the years throughout different times of the year, and what I've heard from other people and what I've also experienced in other Southeast Asian countries, even when it's rainy during rainy season, it doesn't mean it rains like all day long every single day. It may rain every day, but it may be like a sprinkle for, I don't know, like an hour. Or it may pour down for like 30 minutes, but it's not raining every single day, all day long. And when you're living in a tropical environment, when it's really, really hot, like now, you welcome the rain. It's like, woo, it's raining. Thank God. But yeah, rainy season lasts several months. Yeah, I got a 10-year visa. Actually, let me correct that. It's a visa that's good for 10 years. It's a 10-year visa, but it's the initial approval is good for 5 years, and then you have to renew it for another 5 years. So for a total of 10 years. You just have to demonstrate that you still meet the requirements, because there's some financial criteria involved. So I have to resubmit in 5 years. Yes. First class everything. This is why I invest. Yes. Oh, thank you, Miss Sierra. Yes. Uh, you're Theravada Buddhist. Thailand is on my short list of countries to visit soon. Yes. Thailand will welcome you, Anita. Thailand will welcome you. You have just moved since the last live stream. Yeah, yeah, I just moved. I think my last live stream, I think I was in Malaysia because I had a doctor's appointment. Yeah, yes, I saw my doctor in April. So my last live stream, I was in Malaysia. Yeah. After my doctor's appointment that next weekend, I came back to Thailand. And I was going through the whole process of finding a place. That's why I haven't been live because I hit the ground running. I was going through all of the red tape of finding a place. Absolutely take Thai classes, continue to grow in abundance. And this is interesting. But yes, ma'am, Miss Edith, I will definitely do all these things that you mentioned. I do not plan to take Thai classes. What I plan to do, and I have done some research and just to make sure I ain't tripping, to make sure that what I want is available. What I want to do, I want to hire a Thai person. Oh, it could be a Thai teacher, but I don't want to take Thai classes because I know it's such a tonal language and such a unique language. I know it's not a language I would ever learn formally, and I don't want to. I want to learn how to live in Thailand. I want to speak the casual phrases that Thai people speak when they're socializing. I don't want to learn sentence structure and conjugation and subject verb agreement. I don't want none of that. I want to learn how to exist in Thailand and communicate with the people when I'm out and about living. So what I plan to do is I've joined several Facebook groups with learning Thai and all that kind of stuff, people that are looking for Thai classes and Thai teachers. What I plan to do is when I'm ready, I plan to write a post and make an offer for a Thai person, preferably a Thai teacher, because I need somebody that's going to be patient with me. But I want to hire someone that will go out with me around Bangkok and take me different places, not as a tourist, because I've done most of the touristy things, but to take me out in the city to experience things and to teach me as we're experiencing the city. Like, I don't know, going to a temple and teaching me like conversational things at a temple, or going to watch a movie together. And then after the movie is over, we go to a cafe and we talk about the movie. Or we go meet up at a cafe to have lunch together and I practice ordering my meal in Thai. You know what I mean? I don't want formal lessons. I want real conversational, lived communication. And I need to learn the tones and how to say things. And I need to learn the casual words that they use. I don't have time to do all the formals. I don't plan to work here. I don't plan to do anything in the government other than renewing my visa. I don't need to do none of the formal stuff. I need to talk to a Thai person on an everyday level. So I did my research to see if something like that exists, and it does. And even if it didn't, Thai people want money. So as long as the offer is attractive, I'm sure I will be able to find a Thai person that will meet with me, I don't know, twice a week or so. Different places in the city, cafe, a movie, a temple, or just walking down the street or riding the BTS or the MRT. I want to learn real Thai that's used every day. That makes sense? Right. So I'll probably do that like after rainy season is over so we can be out and about without restrictions. You're where you're supposed to be at this time in your life, all good and beautiful. Congratulations, East. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I was late to this live. Thank you for sharing your enthusiasm and your stories with me. Oh, you're welcome. I'm definitely interested in Bangkok. I saw a video about a culinary school. Yeah, the DTV visa. if you attend for 6 to 12 months. Yeah. So the DTV visa is, to me, it's like a glorified tourist visa, because although it's good for 5 years, you still have to do border runs. You have to leave the country every 6 months. I think for one of the 6 months, you can probably do a 6-month extension. But I hear that extension has all kinds of issues. Most people just leave and travel somewhere every 6 months. Um, as long as you're okay with having to leave every 6 months, um, that might work for you. But to me, it's just formalizing the border run process, because that's what people were doing illegally anyway. I feel like the DTV just formalizes it. Yeah, Harlem. Yeah, it's like hiring a friend, right? Like hiring a friend to teach you the language. But you pay them. You pay them to have fun together, right? Yeah. But anyway, all right, friends, we have been on for over 2 hours. This has been fun though. But yeah, so my home is in Bangkok, Thailand. I am very happy with my decision. I'm very happy here, and every day is an adventure. Even when I don't go out and do anything, just learning the processes here is an adventure. My building is an adventure. I don't have to leave the building if I didn't want to. Like everything, everything is right here. Food, delivery, laundry service, nail salon, like everything is right here. So it's the conveniences here are ridiculous. I can imagine it will be so easy to be lazy. And there is the pest control. So they're knocking on the door. I'm gonna wrap this up here. All right. Thank you, friends. Have a wonderful day.